Well, good morning, folks. This is Shippy the Explorer. I'm coming to you with another situation this morning. Welcome to the station, and trust that you're okay. And if not, send you blessings and greetings at the same time. For those who are religiously look at these tapes, I say thank you and bless your heart. And for those who subscribe to this station, you have a trustworthy subscribers, and thanks for being such a faithful follower. Some of the tapes are lively, some are, but most of them deals with life situation. And today, I'm bombarded with the cyberspace thieves. You are probably also bombarded with the thieves. The banking system is in trouble, folks. I'm telling you, because in the space of 2 weeks or 1 week, the our banks have been bombarded with people trying to absorb and extract money from the account, and this is it. How can a situation exist where people are sitting in, most likely in a back room or in a sweat room, and they are making millions or billions of dollars from the accounts of ordinary folks like me and you? What's going on? This is an epidemic. The government cannot keep up with this situation. Cannot keep up with this situation. Your checking accounts are being attacked. Your credit cards are being attacked. Your debit cards are being attacked. People are coming to your front of your door and with electronic equipment, and they're opening your garage or they're opening your car, and they're taking the car and they're gone with it. The electronic system is broken. Something is wrong with this system, and the government of this world or these countries need to collectively get together and find the solutions. It's a sickening situation. Here's an example. Even this morning, I saw on my phone, hello, your account has been paid. And when I looked at the number, that number doesn't exist. They're using a number similar to my telephone number. And they're hoping that I click on the message, so that as soon as I click on the message, it's an indication that what they have in the background, that indication tells them that it's that's a legitimate account. And that's a simple one. But then I'm dressed this morning because I'm ready to get out of the house to go to the bank. The credit card sits in a safe place in the house, and for 3 months it hasn't been used. And here I got a message from the bank. The credit card is being used to get into the savings account, into the checking account. And I said, how is that? How that can be possible? The card hasn't been used for months. How can they do that? And behold, just yesterday, we got another call that the card is being used to get into the savings account. And then we said collectively, this is an organization account, really. And the leader says, let's call the bank. We called the bank once and tried to do a three-way call. They hung up on us. We do another call, tried to do another three-way call. They got hung up. We say, okay, this morning I'm putting on my clothes and I'm going to the bank in person. The card is in my pocket. And the card was used yesterday to draw $120 or so from, see the card? It's in my pocket, I haven't gone outside and used it. And the card was used to pull $120 yesterday. Last 2 weeks ago, the card was used to pull another set of money. And yesterday, the banking system is so rotten that it was two cards, two people trying to bombard. One test the card for $0 and the other one got the $120. But the card is sitting in the house in my pocket. And the bank refused to take the calls to shut the card down. So I'm going to the bank in person right now in a few minutes. As soon as I finish this tape, I'm going. But I was so hungry. Well, I'm not hungry, because if you're hungry about money, you're going to get a heart attack and then you die and leave the money and maybe leave it to your kids or something like that. But if you get too hungry, you have to be smart and see what you can do to counteract it. Maybe get rid of the bloody cards. Get rid of the cards and go back to the actual exchange of giving and paying with dollars, paying with live money, going to the bank and depositing. But, let me tell you something, secret. I'm not scared to tell you. Inside the bank, they are robbing your money too. They are robbing your money. So the whole banking system is corrupt. Whether it's being drawn from faraway country, I'm not going to call a name, or near sweat rooms, or far sweat rooms, the situation is rotten. And the bank seems like they don't have any personnel to stop this. I see the numbers coming in on the telephone, and they call, and as soon as you say hello, they register that number, that call, as a legitimate call. And somehow it seems like the banks have allowed these robbers to go into the system, and they have gotten maybe 100, maybe 1,000, maybe 5,000 cards, and they're sitting on it to see which one of these cards are being used or not being used. And they're testing the numbers to see which one is legitimate. And as soon as they test it and realize that it's good, they'd probably draw $1 at first. And then they target it. And then there is a story. There is a system called recurring payments from your card to these people. This is how it's done. I'm going to tell you one story that actually happened to my family. Last month, I was checking up on the bank statement that we use, that is joined with a credit card, and I saw a payment that $44 something dollars that wasn't didn't seem out of the ordinary in terms of the volume or the quantity of the money. But I questioned my wife and said, "Did you make a payment of $44 such to us did you buy something?" And she said, "No, I didn't buy anything." Man, we checked further into the system and realized that we did not purchase anything for $44 using the credit card. So it says LDC, maybe Latter-day Saints Church. But we said, you know what? Don't check the card, but call the bank directly. Call the credit card directly, company. We called the credit card checked out and said, yes, there's a recurring payment of $44 and it's being paid to Latter-day Saints. You know, the Latter-day Saints, the Moments Church. And I said, where is that church? Because we live in the area where we have a mega Latter-day Saints church or center. And then there have churches nearby us. And I said, oh, this one is in Greenbelt. I said to my wife, heck no, there's no Latter-day Saints church in Greenbelt. So who is that payment going to? They say, yes, it's legitimate. It's gonna happen monthly, like a church contribution to this church. You know what the person did, or the organization did? They target the credit card and found out that it's a legitimate credit card. They set up an account to match the name of a church, but the mistake they made was to say it was a church that doesn't exist. We know the area, so the church doesn't exist. And I said, that's a counterfeit, that's a legitimate, that's a cyberspace account. And I said to my wife, I know exactly what they did. They established the account, target the credit card. The credit card is paying this account monthly, $44 something, like it's a church contribution. And they are getting that money monthly. I said, oh my gosh, the robbers are ahead of the society. The robbers are ahead of us. And there is no government or police or FBI or CIA or what's the name of the organization in London? It seems like they are not able to keep up with this. The person or the organization is getting recurring payment every month. And I'm sure our account is not the only one. They might have maybe 100 or 200 recurring payments coming in. 100 times 44 is, it's $4,000. You have 200, you have $8,000 or plus coming in. What about if you have 1 million cards like that? How about that? You're getting a whopping $44 million a month. Big thing, man. Am I tempted to do that? Hell no. I'm not going to do that. That's not fair, because a lot of times you're robbing the small man. You're not robbing the big man. The rich probably doesn't have credit cards like the poor. The rich cards probably is not attached somewhat to their savings account. So what do I do? We call the credit card company and we kill the card. Well, I shouldn't use the word kill. We stop the card and ask for a replacement. But I give you a joke. This is not the first time. This is not the first time from that same bank. I'm not going to call a name. But something is wrong within that bank. It's a big American bank. Big American bank. Or big American banks. Because the one I'm going to this morning in a few minutes is we have had problems with them. The one we had where we stopped our personal card and got it replaced is another big American bank. So the big American banks or the small American banks, the credit card system or debit card system, they have been infiltrated by millions of cyber or thieves, and the money in your accounts are going left and right, north, south, east and west, all over this world, because the banks and the government they're not looking out for us. So my advice is that don't use your debit cards on the street. If you want to have less, maybe one debit card and a credit card, just for peace sake, just have less so you don't get robbed all over the place. And check your statement, folks. Check your statement, because every month your cards, your accounts are being bombarded. Whether within or from outside or out inside, something is wrong. My other advice is that itemize, look at the items. Remember, for the few times where you spend, use your card and check the balance. See where you have spent and make sure that the strange payments are calling. And call the credit card company right away and inform them and point out to them that you have been robbed or being robbed. Let them investigate if you're not sure. And then you get a replacement, as I said. And if they don't want to solve that problem, you get up and go directly to the bank and raise the dickens on them, because this is a shame. You can't sit in your house peacefully and work, and your money is being disseminated all over the world because there's a poor banking system, whether within or without. Whether inside or out, we are being robbed left and right. And that's the story this morning. I'm going up there, and we stopped going to this bank years ago because I'm going to tell this story again. You think it's not inside. I gave my wife a small amount of money, well, small relatively. This was $1,000 or so to deposit. We had a payment, and she went with the cash. And she gave the cashier, gave the teller the money. And immediately the second teller ran over to the counter and beside the other one, and I don't know what they did. They must have, because the camera picked them up. And the teller that was helping my wife gave her the deposit slip and say, okay, this. When she looked at it, the deposit slip was missing almost half of the money. She said, no, this is not what I gave you. Let's finish up this deposit and correct it. You know that in the space of few seconds, the teller slipped out almost half of the cash, made the deposit. Maybe she gave it to the other one that came beside her and made the deposit of half of the money, and is telling my wife that that's what we gave her. And insist on that. We talked to the manager started up a report or investigation. Months after, we called the police didn't help us to the fact. When we demanded a camera shot of what the transaction, the camera shots did not have any of the when you take videos, it has a code, a time and date and everything and signatures. Didn't have any of those. And had my wife hands going up in the air like they cut and paste the tape, and seen her hands dropping, like the money dropping on the counter, and then it doesn't show the amount of money being counted. We took that case and do a small case court. We took them to court. We made the arrangement to take them to court. And on the day when we're supposed to go to court, the same week we're supposed to go to court, we got a message from the courts saying the case has been stopped, because if you want to file another complaint or another case, you have to go back. I think within the bank, the managers or the bank managers or the organization kill that case. And until now, we haven't gotten a penny from that bank. So I'm going back to that bank this morning because with maybe trembling in my body, because they have robbed us before. And now this is another case. We stopped going to that bank because of that case. Robbed from within. And now robbed from outside. And you're being robbed by these thieves within and out of these banks. And you don't have a government or a police department to protect you. Heaven help us. We need to be smart about how we use our cards. Maybe go back to cash. Or check your statements every month. And make sure when you go to the bank, if you go with cash, count out the money on your side and show them. And maybe let them count the money on the other side. And make sure when you get your deposit slip, it matches what you gave them. And if you draw money, let them count it out before you walk out. Or you count it before you walk out of the bank. Because I've been robbed in the United States, I've been robbed in the Caribbean, I've been robbed inside and outside of the bank. And so I know some of you have been robbed also. This is Shippy the Explorer griping, but giving advice today that cyberspace and live people inside and outside the banking system are bombarding the world or citizens of their lively earned money. Stay vigilant, and if you have a situation, take it to the proper authorities and don't let it slide. And if you have kids and you can't do your banking, let one of them take it over. Have a trusted friend or a trusted family members. But stay tuned, be your own detective, and take care of this problem. I'm going right now to go to the bank to take care of this problem. Shippity Explorer is bringing you a serious matter, and I'm sure a lot of you have faced this problem. Take care, stay safe, have a wonderful Thanksgiving, and be a good, smart banker. See you on another tape or a video where Shippity Explorer may be upset, but giving you advice. Be your own police. Talk to you.